President Trump proceeding cautiously on Netflix's $72 billion deal to buy Warner Brothers and HBO.
Well, that's got to go through a process, and we'll see what happens. Netflix is a great company, and they've done a phenomenal job. Ted is a fantastic man. I have a lot of respect for him, but it's a lot of market share, so we'll have to see what happens.
The president did say the deal could be a, quote, problem because of the market share of the company would have if the deal goes through. Warner Brothers Discovery, of course, is CNN's parent company, and the group chat is back. Sarah, I want to go to you because the first thing everyone thought about this conversation was that Paramount and the Ellison family, and they had close ties to Trump, and therefore they were going to be the people who could win over regulators. What do you make of Trump talking kindly about Netflix?
So any of the three suitors for this asset would have gone through an investigation on the regulatory side, no question.
Because all of them would have led to massive holding.
Consolidation where they would have had more market share, sure. The key differentiator is, would Trump's DOJ sue to block one deal over another? And it was perceived that because of Ellison's relationship with Trump, they'd be more likely to sue to block the other bidders, which would be Netflix and Comcast. The challenge, though, Audie, is that even if you sue to block a deal, an independent judge is ultimately the one that's going to make the final call. So all three of these bids would have regulatory scrutiny. Why Netflix was chosen, ultimately, my sources have told me, is because their deal had clean cash and that the Warner Brothers Discovery folks thought they could actually close it. They had the money. They don't have to worry about raising from sovereign wealth funds or private equity firms. And so they felt that this particular bid was the one most likely to close.
Yeah.
And if you are a board, you need to have your shareholders' best interests. Closing the deal financially is very important, especially when all of the bids would have had regulatory scrutiny on them.
Yeah, and just to be clear, because of the way this deal is structured, it would make it so that CNN and other cable networks would spin off into their own company. Netflix would sort of absorb HBO and Warner Brothers and its big library. I bring this up because Hollywood is not happy. You hear people really upset. Actress Jane Fonda was writing, consolidation at this scale would be catastrophic for an industry built on free expression, for the creative workers who power it. It's sort of interesting response here from the different communities.
For sure. And I mean, the whole idea is, or one of the ideas, are movies going to be released in movie theaters, or is that going to be a thing of the past? I mean, is this going to become the Netflix, is Netflix watching things at home, the release going to be how it is now? I'm interested in what the president's involvement is in this. He confirmed last night that he met with the head of Netflix, which we did not know before, in the Oval Office last week, presumably before the deal was announced or right around that time. He is very interested in all of these subjects, from movies to media to other things. So a lot of regulatory things the White House is not all that focused on. This is not a very strict regulation kind of ethos in the White House, but I think he is going to...
But the backdrop to this is the Supreme Court case over this Federal Trade Commission chair, which is literally about, can you put a loyalist in? Can you fire someone at will who's at an independent agency?
Yes, okay, so let's separate two things. On the Netflix side, President Trump can try to put his finger on the pulse all he wants. At the end of the day, if his DOJ is even directed to sue to block this for political reasons or to not block this for political reasons, it all comes down to an independent judge in court. The FTC situation is a little bit different. Basically, the Supreme Court is going to decide, does the executive branch have the power to fire the heads of what are supposed to be independent agencies? If they say he does, that is a massive shakeup for the media and technology, regulatory world writ large. Because what essentially it would indicate is that these agencies that are supposed to regulate our utilities and our companies are not actually independent. It would have far-reaching repercussions, not just for the FTC, but for other heads of departments that Trump has tried to get rid of. I think about the Copyright Office, et cetera.
Unprecedented ceremony at the Kennedy Center in Washington. For the first time ever, the president served as the on-stage host of the annual honors event. President Trump even called it the Trump Kennedy Center, joking, maybe? The president told reporters he was, quote, 98% involved in selecting this year's honorees. Kiss, Sylvester Stallone, Gloria Gaynor, Michael Crawford, and George Strait. CNN chief media analyst Brian Stelter is with us now in the Kennedy Center. Honors have never looked like this, Brian, period.
Yes, that is absolutely true. Now, this broadcast airs on CBS later in the month, closer to Christmas, but it was taped last night in front of a MAGA media-friendly crowd, and of course, groups of thousands of people, some just ordinary Washingtonians wanting to see these celebrities. But it very much reflected Trump's makeover and renovation of the Kennedy Center. We know he's physically renovating the property, but he has also retrofitted it, in some ways taking it back, bringing in celebrities and stars that are reminders of how he grew up, and stars that he enjoyed in the 70s and 80s, for example. He's friends with Sylvester Stallone, to name one example. So this is Trump putting his mark again on an institution, this time a cultural institution. And of course, he couldn't resist making jabs at former President Joe Biden on stage. At one point, he said, "Our country is back. They tried to get Biden to do this 4 years in a row." There's no evidence Biden would have ever hosted the Kennedy Center Honors. Normally a celebrity, normally a Hollywood actor or someone like that is up on stage. But the fact that the president was doing it, it speaks to how he wants to put on a show in so many different ways. And now it's up to CBS to edit this down, get it ready, the finished product. It airs closer to Christmas, John.
Yeah, and we saw pictures of it before. As you said, we haven't seen him on stage yet because it doesn't air for a few weeks. But we did see the red carpet, and he answered a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Including about a business deal that sort of is close to our hearts here. This is the Netflix Warner Brothers Discovery deal.
Yeah, and this is really important. The president's now on the record talking about what he thinks of Netflix's proposal to buy Warner Brothers and HBO. Here's what the president said on the red carpet.
Well, that's got to go through a process, and we'll see what happens. Netflix is a great company. They've done a phenomenal job. Ted is a fantastic man. I have a lot of respect for him, but it's a lot of market share. So we'll have to see what happens.
Now, this could portend a long and politically tainted process. Trump said the combined size of the two streaming players would be, quote, could be a problem. But it's also notable that he did not expressly oppose the deal. I think in many ways this articulates the difference between Trump 1.0 and Trump 2.0. In Trump 1.0, when Time Warner was being sold to AT&T, including Warner and HBO and CNN, Trump came out against it right away. And there was speculation for years about whether his Justice Department was meddling with the case because of Trump's personal feelings. This time around, Netflix went out and sought Trump out ahead of time. Ted Sarandos flew to the White House, met with Trump in the Oval Office to try to persuade him about the deal ahead of time. And it was notable that Trump was praising and crediting Sarandos on the red carpet last night. So Netflix playing to Trump's personal touch, right? Trying to win Trump over personally. It's notable that Trump did not completely come out against the deal, but what's most notable is that he said he will be involved in the decision. That's yet another norm-shattering moment for Trump and the Justice Department, John.
Yeah, what will that mean? We'll have to wait and see. Brian Stelter, great to see you this morning. Thank you very much.